What's up, everybody? And today we're checking out A-10's Ruthless hunt in the Strait of Hormuz. This is by AI Telly, one of the best YouTube channels right now for information on what's going on out with the war in Iran. And what's absolutely incredible is that they are at 1.97 million subscribers. So there is a link down below to the original video. Go over there, give them a subscribe. Let's get them to 2 million subscribers. They certainly deserve it because their videos are phenomenal, and I am very excited to check this one out. Before we get started though, as always, check out Chug, 10% off, link down below, for the best drinking vessel in the world. Handmade here in the UK by a small business. I cannot recommend them enough. They are absolutely phenomenal. Go check them out if you haven't already. They ship to America as well. Also, if you haven't seen, I made a drink. Go check it out. I worked really hard on this, and I think this year is going to be very special. We've got some events booked. I'm going to a couple of different actual shows to sell the drink, which is very, very exciting. And we're actually kind of pricing up what it would cost to get it out in America. So stay tuned for that. If you want it out in America, let me know in the comments. How quick was that? A minute. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's watch this. Let's check it out. Let's see what's happening with these A-10s.
Why the A-10 Thunderbolt is suited for the Strait of Hormuz. While the U.S. Air Force has been trying to retire the aging A-10 for
I was going to say, I could have sworn last time we heard about the A-10s that they were getting retired.
years to free up budget for fifth-generation stealth fighters like the F-35. However, the unique geography and asymmetric threats of the Strait of Hormuz have made the Warthog temporarily indispensable. They fly low and can slow down the flight speed. Modern jets often fly too fast and high to effectively track small, agile boats swarming in a tight littoral coastal environment.
Okay.
The A-10 is built to fly close to the surface, allowing pilots to visually identify and engage small, erratic targets.
Okay, well, is that a problem that the military is going to have once it does retire the A-10? There's obviously a gap there of these smaller, fast vessels that, by the sounds of what this video is saying, the F-35 might struggle to actually take out compared to something like an A-10. And so is there a gap that needs to be filled there? Should we be looking at a different bit of kit to do that?
One of the main advantages is that it also has massive waiter time. The A-10 can circle above the strait for hours. This persistent overwatch allows them to wait patiently for IRGC boats to emerge from hidden coastal inlets before striking. As we also know, the strait is heavily defended by man-portable air defense systems and small arms fire. To counter small firearms, the A-10's titanium bathtub cockpit armor and redundant flight systems allow it to absorb heavy anti-aircraft fire and keep flying, a risk the military is less willing to take with the F-35 $100 million stealth fighter jet. But the A-10s are not operating in alone. They are currently acting as part of a layered tactical network, working.
It does sound like there's a gap there, isn't there? Longer flight times. Are they holding out until we get the new 6th gen fighter jets that can probably fill that gap? Because it sounds like, what's the point? I mean, I get it, they're old. A-10s are old, aren't they? They're not new by any means. But it sounds like there's a good place for them, right?
Directly alongside Apache attack helicopters, which are also hunting boats and intercepting one-way attack drones in the Strait of Hormuz. So, why exactly is the military keeping the A-10 in the fight? It all comes down to the rugged engineering behind its airframe.
Let me just say, this animation that they've done, AI Tell it. I think they use Blender. Yeah, they use Blender, which, if you don't know, if you're in that space, it's kind of like an animation-ish program and helps you make basically types of footage like this. But my God, they're good, aren't they? They're so good.
Keeping the A-10 in the fight. It all comes down to the rugged engineering behind its airframe. But to see why this plane refuses to die, we first have to crack it open and understand how it actually works. The A-10 is a ground attack aircraft primarily constructed from aluminum alloys. Its airframe consists of multiple independent beams that run along the length of the fuselage and wings, providing exceptional structural integrity. Since these aircraft operate at very low altitudes to support ground troops, they often face intense enemy fire.
Yeah.
To withstand such conditions, the A-10 is designed with a rugged airframe capable of absorbing significant battle damage. It features extensive armor protection around the cockpit, and the glass is also bulletproof and other critical components.
Surely that's standard, right? That most of the cockpit's glass in aircraft these days is bulletproof. I mean, you're not let's be honest, right? It's an aircraft like this that's going to take small arms fire. The chances of something like an F-35 or an F-22 taking small arms fire is quite low. Obviously, there was that rumor that an F-35 got hit recently, but the chances of one of them aircraft taking small fire is so significantly low. Do they even need to worry about it? With this, obviously, it's a lower flying, slower aircraft deliberately, right, for the task in hand, and so it makes sense. I'd love to know.
Making it exceptionally durable for close air support missions. In fact, the A-10's cockpit is encased in titanium armor, also called the bathtub, weighing approximately 1,200 pounds, which translates 540 kilograms, allowing it to withstand heavy impacts and continue flying even in hostile environments.
Interesting.
Let's start from the front. This aircraft, along with its entire frame, was built specifically to accommodate this massive gun. Because of that, the landing gear had to be pushed to the sides.
Whoa.
To give you an idea of its scale, let's compare it to a person. You can see just how huge it is.
We've done a video a while back on the actual minigun on it, and it's just such a phenomenal bit of kit. It really is.
This top angle, you'll notice that the gun is slightly off-center.
Oh, yeah.
This is named as the GAU-8 Avenger, a 30mm cannon, and it's actually angled downward by a few degrees. The GAU-8 Avenger uses a 7-barrel Gatling design where barrels rotate around a central axis. Each barrel fires sequentially, allowing rapid cooling between shots and reducing wear. The rotation is powered by dual hydraulic motors producing 77 horsepower, which spin the barrels at high speeds, achieving a rate of fire of 3,900 rounds per minute.
3,900 rounds per minute. Good God, that's insane, isn't it? That is so impressive.
Down from an initial 4,200 revolutions per minute to extend barrel life. It also employs a double-ended, linkless feed system that cycles spent casings back into the drum magazine instead of ejecting them.
Yeah.
This prevents imbalances in the aircraft's center of gravity and avoids debris ingestion by engines.
It does make you wonder, do they ever jam? And if they do, is it common? You've shot rifles before, you know, stoppages are common. You know, certain rifles have more stoppages than others, right? But, yeah. Is there some sort of anti-jamming mechanism on it or something?
The drum holds up to 1,174 rounds, typically loaded with 1,150, and requires a specialized reloading, a process that can take hours due to the system's complexity. The gun generates 10,045 kilonewton of recoil, more than one of the A-10's TF-34 engines, which produces 9,065 pounds each. To counteract this, the gun is mounted off-center, slightly to the port side. This design balances recoil forces, preventing pitch or yaw deviations during firing. The reason for the high recoil is because of the size of these rounds.
So literally, when it shoots, it slows the aircraft down then. That's mental, isn't it?
For reference, this is a standard bullet.
5.56
Right next
NATO
to
round.
it is a 50 caliber round. And finally, this is the massive 30 millimeters.
God. How? My God, that must be like that. Wait, 5.56 is like what? It's like this big? And you're talking at least like 3 of them. So yeah, it's probably like this big, the round. Good God.
Bullet used in the GAU-8 Avenger. To put things into perspective, let's compare it to the size of a human hand, and it is enormous. To help you understand better, this is a cross-section of an armor-piercing incendiary round made with a depleted uranium penetrator.
Okay.
Just below that is the jacket, followed by a tracer round, propellant charge, and finally the electric primer. When fired, it can pass through 38 millimeters of steel when fired from a range of 1,000 meters.
From 1,000.
Moving back to the front, the two objects positioned just above the gun and the forward radar warning receiver.
Good God.
To create a 360-degree protection, these are also fitted on the wings on each side.
It's crazy to think that it's that impressive and yet it's old. It's that old, you know? Crazy bit of kit.
And finally, on the tip of the tail. They are essential for a ground attack jet, as heat-seeking missiles always pose a potential threat.
Yeah.
When a target is locked by radar and illuminated by a continuous wave or pulse Doppler signal, used for missiles with a semi-active radar seeker.
It does make that actually makes me wonder whether these aircraft are followed and protected by anything else. There must be other. I mean, whenever there is an aircraft in the sky, for the US that is, there is some sort of support craft. That's just like normal. For the most part, it's just eyes in the sky more than anything. Not so much protection. You're not going to get protection on stuff like an F-35 or the F-22 because they're the things that are doing the protection. But you have got some sort of like radar system or you know, some sort of some eyes in the sky of some sort, haven't you? So it does make me wonder. This probably doesn't necessarily need protecting, but is there any sort of support aircraft that goes along with them?
Our warning receivers pick it up. The HUD and display unit alert the pilot and activate countermeasures such as flares to confuse incoming missiles, helping to prevent a fatal crash. Even for civilians, there are countless bad actors targeting our computers.
Classic ad.
Step over here. If you open this hatch, you'll find a ladder, which makes this one of the few military jets with a built-in way to climb straight into the cockpit.
Fancy.
Once inside...
You know what? You look at what is all... Like, what's going on there? How many dials do you need? What are we doing? What are all these buttons? What's going on? How do you remember any of that shit? How do you remember any of it? That's why I was in the Marines.
You'll notice everything's we clearly label with most of its parts.
Okay, engine indicator, fuel flow indicators, left and right, MFD, multifunctional display, altitude, HUD, the radar warning receiver ones, left and right, multifunctional displays, master arms panel. But that's only a bit of it. There's still loads there.
So feel free to take your time exploring before we dive into learning how to fire the GAU-8 Avenger cannon. Right in front of you are the center stick controls. The red button on top is the weapon release, and just below that, you'll find the trigger for the gun. To use the GAU-8, first flip the red gun safety switch to gun
As if it's actually showing us this. I thought it was going to be more informational stuff about the war in Iran, but we're going into how to shoot an A-10. A-10 here. We're not, like, what?
ARM. This activates both the cannon and the precision attack control system.
Okay. I should play some sort of flying game.
Line up the upper dot of the reticle and hold down the first stage trigger on the target as shown.
What's the latest flying game? Let me have a look real quick. Is there a new Ace Combat? Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to play Ace Combat 8 Wings of Thief. Upcoming 2026. Is that something that I should play? Should I play Ace Combat and give it a try? I don't know if it's my cup of tea.
When you're within a mile of the target, pull the trigger all the way. This unleashes a barrage of rounds powerful enough to take out tanks or lightly armored vehicles. Now that you've got the hang of the gun, let's talk about dropping bombs in case you come across one of these. For a bombing run, the pilot arcs into a semicircular dive toward the target but releases the bomb halfway through the maneuver.
Makes sense.
Thanks to physics, the bomb inherits the plane's forward speed at that moment, meaning it keeps flying ahead at the same velocity. With GPS guidance, it then glides precisely to its target. Inside the cockpit, let's take a look at the process of dropping gravity bombs. This is the velocity vector, indicates the direction your aircraft is currently moving. Just below it is the computer-calculated impact point.
I am terrible at flying aircraft on stuff like Battlefield 6 because this stuff, it's hard for me to like concentrate on firing when going down because I know that I've only got a limited amount of time before I've got to pull up. And so I panic in them modes. This is why I went in the Marines. This is why I'm good with boots on the ground.
The large line extending outward represents the projected weapon fall line.
Okay.
Here you can see the weapon selection symbology and just below it, the selected weapon. In this case, the Mark 82 bomb.
This is mental.
Now, the most important part...
There's a bunch of Chinese and Russian people watching this right now trying to copy it.
To ensure accuracy, align the computer-calculated impact point with the velocity vector of the aircraft, while also making sure the projected weapon straight line with the target. This is what the impact fall line would look like. Keep in mind that these Mark 82 bombs are often equipped with a GPS guidance kit for greater precision.
Okay.
When the targeting symbology aligns over the target, the pilot presses the top...
So they have aim assist. That's what they have.
top release button on the control stick. From that moment, physics, gravity, and the GPS bomb kit take over, guiding it toward its mark. Let's consider this scenario, supporting ground troops who
All
are
right.
under heavy fire
Here we
and
go.
pinned down by armored tanks and heavy artillery bombardment. It all begins with reconnaissance or troops
Firstly, this is definitely a British officer just stood out in the open with his binos out. Probably drinking a cup of tea and not giving a shit. These lads need to get in the trench ASAP.
needed fire support. They scanned the battlefield, pinpointing enemy positions and relaying vital intelligence with precise coordinates. Once the plan is in place, the A-10s take off and head toward the target area. Flying at low altitudes, they use terrain features for cover, avoiding enemy radar detection. Throughout the approach, they maintain constant communication with ground units, receiving real-time updates and adjusting their tactics as needed. As they close in, the A-10s unleash their iconic GAU-8 Avenger cannons, tearing through armored vehicles and artillery positions.
All this does is it's making me want to watch Top Gun again. That scene where they're flying, Tom Cruise and that other lad is flying, and then the two, I think they're supposed to be like Chinese aircraft come, and they're like Gen 5 or Gen 6 aircraft, and then like, what we're going to do. And then he just like, oh, that scene is so sick. I could watch it all day.
But they need to change their strategy against heavily armored targets. They can use guided munitions or Hellfire missiles for moving targets, delivering devastating precision against enemy tanks. Smoke rises from the battlefield as the Thunderbolts rain down their firepower. But their mission doesn't end with the initial strike. The A-10s remain on station, providing critical close air support. As ground troops push forward, the pilots stay ready to respond instantly to enemy resistance and clear the path ahead. The A-10's engines are mounted high on the fuselage, a design choice that helps reduce the risk of damage from foreign object when flying in partially damaged airports.
Oh, that's why the engines are up there. I mean, surely there's more than just that, but that's interesting.
This is how it works. The fan rotor draws in ambient air, which undergoes powerful compression in both the low pressure and high pressure compressors.
Okay.
Subsequently, the air enters the combustor, where fuel injection occurs. This process generates a continuous combustion of fuel and air, reaching temperatures about 1,000 degrees Celsius.
Jesus.
The resulting heat causes the gas to expand, leading it to escape from the combustor with high energy, flowing through both the high and low pressure turbines.
Okay.
As a consequence, the turbine blades rotate. The energy liberated by this process drives both the compressor and the fan.
There's a lot of physics right there, isn't it, guys? All I know is point gun in one direction towards bad guy. That's what I know about military stuff.
Finally, the remaining exhaust gases exit through the nozzle, generating thrust. Unlike traditional jet engines, the TF-34G100 produces relatively cooler and slower moving exhaust, reducing its heat signature and making the A-10 harder to detect with infrared sensors.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
All the power generated by the engine needs fuel, and they comes from these 4 compartmentalized self-sealing tanks.
4 of them.
Here you'll find the 4.
I wonder if this aircraft is able to be filled up in the sky. It must be, right?
Fuel tank 1 and the rear fuel tank number 2. Moving to the sides, you'll see 2 additional wing fuel tanks. Opening this lid reveals the single point refueling section.
What? Oh, single point.
For this refueling point, you can pump in up to 11,000 pounds of...
If it's a single point refueling, or maybe it still can, but it sounds like it can't be refueled in the sky, right?
Aircraft fuel. To put that into perspective, that's enough to fill about 20 school buses, assuming they use the same fuel type and each has an 80-gallon tank. These are the flaps on the A-10. When extended, they increase the wing's surface area and curvature, allowing the aircraft to maintain controlled flight during takeoff, landing, and slow-speed maneuvers. Here are the slats.
I didn't expect we were going into an in-depth look at the actual A-10. I thought this was more about the war in Iran. Still, this is brilliant.
Help manage airflow over the wings, especially at high angles of attack, ensuring the aircraft remains stable and controllable even during sharp turns or aggressive maneuvers. The rudder mounted on the vertical stabilizer at the tail is the A-10's primary means of controlling yaw, the side-to-side movement of the aircraft's nose. Finally, the air brakes are one of the A-10's most distinctive features.
Air brakes.
These large panels extend from the fuselage just behind the wings, creating significant drag. They allow the A-10 to transition from high-speed flight to low-speed maneuvering without compromising stability, making them an indispensable tool for close air support missions.
Interesting.
In case the military needs you, let's go over how to start this plane.
Oh yeah, this is something that I've been needing to know for a while. Actually, you just never know when you need to get into an A-10 and get the rounds down for the boys. So listen, get your notebooks out. Listen up. This is important.
First, set the inverter to standby, then turn on the battery power.
Classic.
Next, start the APU or auxiliary power unit. Wait for the APU gauge to reach 100%. Now start the left engine by setting the throttle to the idle position. Once the left engine is running smoothly, start the right engine. After both engines are up and running, turn off the APU. Finally, set all displays to either day or night mode depending on your needs.
Fair one.
And just like that, full throttle and raising the control unit and you're ready to go.
Does it have dark mode?
We make original videos from
Honestly, I thought you just put a key in it and turned it. Absolutely phenomenal video, as always, by AI Telly. I honestly thought it was going to be more about the war in Iran, but they went into detail on the A-10. And listen, you know me, I love my military gear, equipment, and vehicles. So I loved that video. Link down below to AI Telly. Let's get them to 2 million subscribers. They certainly deserve it, doing the incredible work. Check out Chug, 10% off, link down below if you haven't already. And then go get yourself some morale. And let me know in the comments if you want it out in America. Other than that, I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.